Good afternoon, I'm Tracy Sinclair, and we are getting ready for to show a press conference with Anchorage Mayor Suzanne LaFrance. Quick look, this is what the setup downtown, and as you can see on the screen, they will be discussing the 2025 proposed budget. Some of the changes that the LaFrance office and administration says we'll see is that they're going to be investing in housing, shelter, and camp abatements in an attempt to address homelessness. They're also expanding the mobile crisis team to 24-hour service and to fully fund the Anchorage Safety Patrol, shift service from the Anchorage Health Department to the Anchorage Fire Department to streamline crisis response and to improve recruitment and retention in the prosecutor's office. We do expect to see the mayor here coming out in just a few minutes and to discuss her proposed budget for 2025. Other items that are expected to be listed are to raise snowplow operator pay in an attempt to improve snow removal capacity, reliability, and expertise. Snow removal, of course, has been quite an issue in the Anchorage area over the past 2 winters, and to invest in Anchorage childcare and early education funds in stimulus payments to stabilize the childcare sector. Again, a big issue for many people in Alaska and in Anchorage. They also say they've got a pilot project to improve access to affordable quality childcare and early education. Another item that they say will be into this budget is to kickstart new grants, a new grants team focused on securing federal and state investments for Anchorage's needs. And of course, they are also hoping to make municipal jobs more competitive, to improve consistency and the function of services. These are items that were listed in the summary of the budget that has been sent to us. We will be covering this throughout the day. Lauren Maxwell is down at this press conference as we get ready to hear from Anchorage Mayor Suzanne LaFrance. And again, for those joining us, we are expecting Anchorage Mayor Suzanne LaFrance to come out and talk about the proposed operating budget for the Anchorage municipality for 2025. A number of highlights that are noted in the summary page of the budget, including snowplow, hopefully improving snowplow ability, reaction, reliability, and capacity, and by increasing pay for those operators, also investing in housing, shelter, and camp abatement. So these are some of the items, obviously the big topics for many people in Anchorage: snow removal, homelessness, and childcare seem to be in the forefront of some of the budget items. Again, we are just waiting for the mayor to come out and discuss the budget. And thank you all for joining us here. We are waiting for Anchorage Mayor Suzanne LaFrance to come out and discuss the proposed 2025 Municipality of Anchorage budget. This is expected to have some increased budget items around addressing homelessness, the mobile crisis team, expanding that to a 24-hour service, and also fully funding the Anchorage Safety Patrol. Many of the issues that Anchorage residents have discussed as the biggest issues around homelessness, crime, mental health, and of course childcare, snow removal. Well, the mayor will be out here, we believe, in just a few minutes. And here's Anchorage Mayor Suzanne LaFrance.
Good? Good to go. Good to go. All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here today as we present the 2025 proposed budget for the municipality of Anchorage. I am proud to deliver a fiscally responsible budget for the municipality that gets the basics right and takes on the big challenges and is under the tax cap. I want to start by saying that a budget is not just a reflection of our values and priorities, but the way that they become results. We all know that the municipality is resource limited. It is paramount to me that we are using taxpayer dollars responsibly and effectively. The first budget of my administration has been built to support the fundamental services that residents rely on, while also tackling the big challenges we face. Since July 1, my administration has been focused on 3 key priorities. First, good government. We know that we cannot solve any of our big challenges until our house is in order. That means delivering ethical, accountable government, getting the muni's finances in order, and improving recruitment and retention in municipal departments to ensure effective service delivery. Second, we also know that many of our community's big challenges are playing out on our streets and trails, from homelessness to safety on our roads and public spaces to snow removal. We have made a commitment to making this place safer for everyone who lives here and building our future. While we have seen a lot of challenges in recent years, I remain fully optimistic about our future. To get there, we need to build more housing, improve access to childcare, and deliver better economic opportunities. The 2025 budget is a reflection of these key priorities and the big challenges in front of us. In building the budget, it is clear to me that our community is at a fork in the road. The big challenges we face will not solve themselves. We must choose to invest in solutions and work together to make progress. I know we can do it. And this budget proposes to tackle these challenges in a fiscally responsible way while staying under the tax cap. We can be fiscally responsible and prioritize these challenges head on. First, this is a budget that prioritizes and funds our response to homelessness, from housing to shelter to enhanced camp cleanup. This is the first mayor's budget I'm aware of that builds in this level of funded response to homelessness. Second, the 2025 budget includes an expansion and alignment of several key crisis response services in our community, including the mobile crisis team and the safety patrol. Third, I am focused on improving snow removal through reliable staffing and reliable equipment. Fourth, I am committed to increasing safety in our community. This includes everything from investing in traffic calming to prevent pedestrian deaths to investing in our public spaces, including the redevelopment of Town Square Park. Fifth, 2025 is the first year the Anchorage Child Care and Education Fund will be deployed in Anchorage. This is the voter-approved dedication of cannabis tax revenue. My 2025 proposed budget includes stimulus payments to stabilize the child care sector and pilot projects to innovate in the sector. And finally, while we tackle our big challenges, I remain committed to getting the basics right. This budget continues to fund core municipal services while investing in recruitment and retention of municipal staff to improve our day-to-day service delivery. Taken together, the 2025 budget reflects a commitment not just to funding, but to action around our key challenges, from tackling homelessness and responding to people in crisis, to improving public safety and ensuring good government. As I turn it over, I want to thank Office of Management and Budget Director Ona Brous and her team for all of their tremendous work to deliver a fiscally responsible, priority-aligned budget for 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for the lovely introduction. The proposed 2025 budget consists of 3 items: the operating budget, the capital budget, and the utilities and enterprise department budgets. The 2025 budget funds the continuation of department services included in 2024, our current year, which while also bringing on changes to address the administration's priorities. The proposed budget puts general government and alcohol tax dollars towards the mayor's priorities of addressing homelessness, including funding for winter shelter, including non-congregate and congregate beds, matching funds for the state's support of year-round shelter at 56th Avenue, $2 million for housing programs, a 10% increase in alcohol tax funding for healthy spaces. The 2025 proposed budget also funds critical services in Anchorage, including expanding the mobile crisis team with $1.36 million of alcohol tax funding and bringing the Anchorage Safety Patrol via alcohol tax funding and general government funding into the fire department to coordinate service provision of emergency services. The mayor's snow removal priorities are reflected in 2 key changes: a substantial increase to operator pay to improve capacity and avoid expensive private contracts when staffing levels can't be maintained, and a proposed levy to bring to the voters to address aging snow equipment, which Municipal Manager Wint Pearson will speak to more. The mayor's priorities around safe public spaces and traffic calming to address pedestrian deaths can be seen in both the operating and the capital budgets. There is funding for traffic calming and safety, trail and park improvements, including funding to revitalize Town Square Park, support for a new neighborhood greenways program to test low-cost ways to make Anchorage neighborhoods safe and more accessible. The 2025 budget is also the first time the Anchorage Child Care and Early Education budget is being deployed. The mayor's budget includes $2 million in stimulus payments for the child care sector, along with $2 million in funding for pilot projects to innovate. The 2025 budget also includes ACE funds accumulated in 2024, a portion of which will be used to fund key early childhood education grants and programs previously funded via the alcohol tax. The mayor's commitment to support staff and improve recruitment and retention is reflected in several key changes. Prosecution pay, a non-rep wage adjustment, and incorporation of executive wage adjustments that were made during 2024. This budget reflects the commitment to continuation funding for core services alongside investments in addressing big challenges. Municipal Manager Wynn Pearson will talk to us about some of those big challenges.
Thank you, Ona, and thank you, Mayor. I'm pleased to be able to speak today to the planned capital budget for 2025. So as Ona mentioned, the municipality of Anchorage's capital budget offers some key support for critical priorities, including critical investment to improve the safety and usability of our streets, our trails, our public buildings, and public spaces for all users across all seasons. Additionally, as part of the budget being put forward, the mayor has also announced 2 levies that are proposed to come before the voters on the April ballot. These speak to concerns we've already spoken with many of you about over the past few months regarding the needed support and reinvestment for the municipality's aging fleet. So these levies address the reality we've been seeing over and over again across different areas of our fleet, underinvestment in our fleet and critical equipment for everything from snow removal to public safety, which has led to degraded service in those critical areas for the municipality. We have police vehicles with over 200,000 miles on them. We have snow equipment that's over 30 years old, and it's time to do something. The result of not keeping up with replacement of these aging vehicles and equipment means we're spending more and more on maintenance, and these levies offer the opportunity for the residents of Anchorage to choose this spring to invest in the equipment needed to deliver on critical snow and public safety services. And with that, we'll take a few questions.
Any questions? Wesley?
Starting with the prior chief, I believe was the OMB director, sort of highlighted that there have been some accounting errors lasting back a couple of administrations, kind of affecting the municipality's cash flow and the reserves. I'm curious how this budget, if at all, addresses sort of the muni's relatively smaller cash reserves than they normally do.
Oh, no.
One of the challenges that we have seen over the last few years within the municipality is the timeliness of our ACFR report, which is the annual financial audit. And that impacts our ability to see into what fund balance is and know what that number may be above our traditional reserve accounts that we must maintain for bond ratings. And the progress on the ACFR has brought us to our time frame in 2023, where if we're able to produce a report in the appropriate window next year, that we will be able to have a timely report on what fund balance is. In the interim, we are using some of the similar funds that were used in 2024 from the inclusion of ML&P funding for PERS debt and some of the other debt associated with the municipality to bridge some of that gap due to the funding loss of fund balance.
Lauren?
Kind of ignorant questions, but 2. When you say this is under the tax cap, does that mean that property taxes are not likely to go up? And also levies, are those bond proposals to the voters would vote on for funding these particular fleet issues?
The budget is under the tax cap by about $200,000. There is a property tax increase that is calculated as part of the tax cap formula. So as part of that increase included in the continuation budget, which is about $12 million to get from 24 to 25 with the labor increases associated, there will be a property tax increase associated with that tax cap. And the levies are similar to bonds, but they are tax adjustments in perpetuity as opposed to approval of a lump sum dollar amount to pay out over a set period of time. So it is the it's similar to the way the APD body cam funding was acquired and some funding for the Anchorage Fire Department emergency response equipment in the last couple of years.
But voters would have to approve that?
Absolutely.
I see, okay. Is there a calculation for how much property taxes would go up under this budget?
We have that, we can get that to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Emily?
How much is the estimated tax cap for 2025?
Let me look. The total property taxes, including the general property and the LRSAs and rural road service areas that are taxed, is $373,948,883.
How is winter emergency shelter funded within the budget? Where are those funding streams coming from? And are all 500 non-congregate beds funded, or is the number of non-congregate beds dropping?
I can take a first pass at that, and then if there's any additional, Farina can help us out. The winter shelter program is fully funded in a combination of both the general government budget and the alcohol tax budget. It includes funding for the congregate shelter at 56th Avenue and funding for approximately 400 non-congregate beds and an additional allocation for some rapid rehousing programs that would be part of that housing change.
And to add specificity to that, the reduction from 500 to 400 was specifically in response to the community with regards to ensuring that where are individuals going to go? How are we going to demonstrate movement in the system? So adding rapid rehousing creates choice and support, and I'm very grateful that that was an item that we were able to get into the budget as a part of the mayor's priorities.
Is that going to be through the Next Step program, or is there a different rapid rehousing program the city's looking at?
For rapid rehousing, we will be putting out an RFP.
Any other questions? Wesley?
I'm curious about snow plowing efforts. I know that a lot of the budgeting is for wages, but I was under the understanding that a lot of things standing in the way were sort of the aging fleet. And so how is the city feeling about this upcoming winter with respect to being able to deliver services?
Yeah.
It's a good question. So it's a multi-pronged issue, as I think you've highlighted already. There are pieces of the puzzle that are going to have to be solved over time. The budget offered today provides a potential solution through the levy support for additional fleet investment over time. There are also shorter term items that we could potentially solve more quickly, like being more competitive in the wages that we offer to our operators to be able to attract a full cadre of operators to be working throughout the snow season. So it's multi-pronged. It's not going to be one thing. We're going to solve for the things that we can solve for quickly, and we're also going to try and solve for the things that take more time and try to put the pieces together as we go.
I guess looking ahead to this winter, what are some of those things that are in the quicker realm?
Yeah, well, so the wages is one of them, and we've also increased some of our coordination efforts with some of our partners. We're working on enhancing our communication efforts. We're talking about all of the long list of oddball problems that came out of last year and trying to solve them in advance, things like better access to bus waiting stations for pedestrians. We're looking at problem areas that came out of last year. And so what we're doing really right now is troubleshooting the logistical challenges that came out of last year, focusing on that coordination and communication and solving for the shorter lead term items, again, like recruiting. And then the fleet issue is a big question, but that's something that, as you point out rightly, will not be solved immediately. And we need to take steps now for that longer term investment to solve it looking forward.
Quick question. What's the timeline right now for the 2023 ACFR? When is that expected to be complete?
Was that a bill? Bill?
So I'm Bill Palsy, the Chief Administrative Officer. There's not a firm timeline for the 2023 ACFR right now. As folks may have noticed, that we have just hired a new controller Stephanie Ryan, who started maybe about a month ago. She is doing a capable and great job of whipping that department into shape. We are aiming for a earlier delivery date than we achieved here in 2024, but we don't have a firm timeline to offer you now.
How does this budget compare to last year's?
The 2024 budget was $620 million. The 2025 budget is $645 million. There's a $25 million difference, most of which is the continuation labor and contractual increases associated with continuing the budget from 24 to 25. There was a $4 million reduction in one-time revenues from the movement of some of those additional funds that we talked about earlier, and a $7 million increase for debt service. There was about $7 million in changes from the mayor's additions and changes within the expenses in the 2025 budget. So the total breakdown is about $2.8 million in increases for maintenance and operations, facility costs, equipment costs, and particularly increased utility costs from the 24 to 25 budget, and a handful of labor changes that include Chief Administrative Officer Falsey changing the location of the library navigators from the alcohol tax into the general government budget, and aligning some of the other long-term standing funding in the alcohol tax over into the general government budget, as well as $3.5 million in the general government budget specifically for the congregate shelter on 56th.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you said 620 was last year, that was the capital budget, or the operating budget?
Yes.
But and then you said 645, but the slide said 636.
That's the property tax total. So the operating budget includes more than just the property tax levy.
So the operating budget proposed is 645.
Oh, I'm sorry. The total budget, with not including depreciation, is 636, 531,237. The overall budget is 645, 830, 992.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you all so much.
Amanda, is the presentation that was up on the screen, is that available to us, or is that on the website?
Yep, and we're going to send out a press release also that has more, but we can get that to y'all.
And that was the team from the Anchorage municipality discussing the budget, the proposed budget for 2025 for the Muni. The mayor started off saying that they were focused around three fundamental principles: good government, safer community for everyone who lives in the Anchorage area, and then building on the future, and that includes housing, improved childcare, and economic opportunity. And some of the major issues that are put into this budget are addressing homelessness. She said addressing homelessness head on. One of the things will be that the mobile crisis team is 24 hours now, and the safety patrol will be moved into the fire department area. And then for snow removal, also obviously a big issue, increasing those wages, but the improvements to the fleet will be part of a ballot measure coming up in April. So we are going to have more tonight, of course, at 4, 5, 6, and 10 on Alaska's News Source. Thank you so much for joining us. And as you saw, Lauren is down there, and Lauren will be part of that coverage coming through for tonight. Again, we'll see you at Alaska's News Source, 4, 5, 6, and 10, and all day long on alaskasnewssource.com.